Welcome back, everybody, to the Marion Key Book Club. For us to sort of wrap up uh, our incredible events we've done with Javier Zamora, author of Solito. We had an amazing panel with Susana De Leon, who's here, who's the moderator, an incredible list of panelists. And then we also had Javier Zamora himself, who had an incredible author event at Central Library. And we had, I believe, a packed house and I think 300 more people watching online. So it was a really just incredible event. And we still have our Spanish only event on June 22nd, which we're all looking forward to as well. So we're just grateful for the participation. The book was just really, really amazing. After the panel and then the event with Javier, Susana, what stood out to you? What's the thing that was most memorable to you?
I came out of that event thinking very deeply about how the book is going to be discussed in Spanish and the implications of so much trauma that our community carries, and the stories that are right now coming out. People feel like they have a bigger license to share their own grief. And to me, you know, I am really thinking about the love and the pain that go together in reading the story, and how different people will come to it from their place of either recovery, grief, or still, you know, very deep into trauma. So I am hearing more and more stories about crossings and more details, you know, about the dates. In a way, it's a little bit scary to hear about so many details, but people who are reading the book just, they want to share. So that's what stood out to me after that wonderful gathering.
I thought about that with both the panel and the author event. I thought about people in the audience potentially who may have had stories that were like Javier's story, and you know what that must have been like for them. And I guess I wondered, the Q&A was so powerful to me. After people stood up and asked questions, that was just such a powerful moment to hear people share their stories. Because I think one of my biggest concerns about all this was, will people who have Javier's stories, or they can share his story and relate to his story, will they feel safe to participate in what we're doing? And that was something I thought a lot about throughout the program. And so to hear you say that people are coming forward and sharing, I think that's really amazing, because I think the most important part of the book for me was how much courage it took for Javier to write a book like that and to talk about everything he experienced, and just to see the impact he's had on others. For you personally, what was it like to both read the book and then to hear Javier talk about his journey?
He has such an authentic voice. And the moment when you're reading a book and you know that you can trust the author, that what they're saying is authentic, and that you don't harbor any questions, of the feelings or the story, then you can give yourself into the story. Personally, the most, I would say, as you're reading, you also have a lot of questions. Some of the questions that we had on that night that were answered, I don't think I could have handled the book if I had known the answers to those questions. So, while you're reading and you can relate, or sometimes you want to say like, oh, how can I help this child right now? How can I take this part away, right? Racism, bigotry, bias. How can I take that away from this child's life? And they were very universal, very deep questions that are not going to have an answer right at the moment. And so reading through the different barriers and boundaries and I would say borders, the reader sort of like becomes in a way attuned, and it's less shocking, but it is very shocking. And I mean, that's what caused me the most, I would say both awe and shock. It is very shocking, but you've been reading such terrible things that you get to this point, and you're glad that there's no gas smell, giving out some things here. But then you see the other thing that's upon them. At the same time, just knowing what big heart our culture has, and that the care and love that went into this child from total strangers. And you know that we have that in our background, in our communities. We come from this richness of love, and it was very evident. So and this is a very powerful. I'm glad I didn't read it alone, because I think reading it alone, it's really not the way this book is supposed to be read. You're supposed to be with friends and be able to sound out what's going on, your feelings, and to process the grief, the love, the encounters, the fun stories, the food, and to be grateful and to be grieving but happy because he's alive, and to think about what it means to other people who are crossing right now, or the people who didn't make it. So it's a lot of emotions with it.
It's amazing you say that, because the book is called Solita, but it just brings so many people together, So for a young man who was alone and felt alone, his book has just done an amazing thing, to just bring people to the table to talk about the subject and share their stories. So I'm really grateful for that. Saturday, Leon.
Yeah, but when I was leaving the event with Javier, I was talking to one of the persons who had been at the panel discussion, and that at that moment, I don't think I would have ever talked to this person on the street just out of the blue, and we walked for a couple of blocks just talking about it. So yes, bringing a lot of people together, and also people who may not have talked before. So thank you, Myron. This is a wonderful, wonderful book club.
Thank you, and all the participants and Javier and everyone else. I'm just grateful that we continue to invest in this book club and people are participating. And this is a really, really great panel event, great author event, and then we still have one more event on June 22nd that we're looking forward to, for everyone to come out to that as well. Susana De Leon, I'm Myron Metcalf. Thank you all again.
Thank you.